A lot of you guys would freak out if your child came home and said, "Mom, I'm pregnant," or "Mom, my girlfriend's pregnant." And yet, y'all have kids and then expect your kids to raise those kids. My mom and dad decided to have my brother when I was 13 years old. And there were days when I couldn't go outside and play with my friends because I had to stay in and watch my brother so that they can sleep to go to work. Now, I'm sure some boomer is going to be like, well, your parents had to put a roof over your head. Well, then they should have consulted with me about whether or not to have a child because I was a kid. And there was a time when all the kids in the neighborhood were outside. I mean, all of them having ice cream, water balloons, having a time. So my sister, she rushes outside to have a good time. And then the moment I touch the door, my dad says, "You're not going anywhere. You're watching your brother." And to this day, at 41 years old, I still remember the absolute heartbreak that I felt in that moment. As a kid, I was having to live my life as if I had a child and schedule my life around raising a child that wasn't mine. And again, I'm sure some boomer is going to be like, "Well, that's your brother," but he wasn't my child. I remember I had gotten a job and I had started school, and I had to make my schedule work so that I could get up early and take my brother to school and then pick him up from school. And there were every single morning I would get up and watch my mom sitting in front of the TV having her coffee while I rushed to get my brother ready and drop him off. And her excuse was always, "Well, I gotta have time to rest before I get ready to go for the day." Again, then I should have been brought into the decision about whether or not y'all should have had a child. I understand that it might be cute every now and then that your daughter or your son is a helpful big brother or sister, and they bring the bottles and they bring the diapers, and every now and then you might say, "Hey, can you grab a shirt out the top drawer so I can get your little sibling ready for bed or ready for school? Hey, I know you have this, but do you mind just real quick getting them from soccer practice?" I understand little times like that, but it is your responsibility to get your child up for school and ready to go, to pick them up, to stay with them when they are sick, to make sure they get to their activities, to watch them. Your kids deserve to be kids. And a lot of you guys are treating your kids like a free nanny service. And then the moment they stand up to you and they say, "Hey, I want to be a kid. I have my own life. I don't want to do this anymore." You say they're talking back and they should be willing to do it because that's just their sibling. Well, again, that's your fucking child that you chose to have. And I'm pretty sure you didn't ask your child if they didn't mind taking care of another kid full time. I'm pretty sure y'all don't pay your children what a nanny would charge. Pretty sure you wouldn't do that. "Well, I can't afford to do that. Well, I can't afford." Well, I mean, you should have thought about that before you had the child. I'm just saying. A lot of people who are my age or close to my age have decided that they don't want to have kids because they already raised kids. And it feels like that they are finally free and empty nesting. Or they have trauma around the fact that they never got to have a childhood because they were raising kids. I told my kids at a very young age, you are responsible for yourself. When they had to get up for school, now my son, he's out of school and my daughter's homeschooling. It was my son's responsibility to get himself up, and it was my daughter's responsibility to get herself up. It was my responsibility to make sure that they got where they needed to be. And maybe your child did ask for a sibling. Sure. Maybe it was a family discussion, but I'm pretty sure if your child understood the responsibility that was about to be bestowed upon them, and the fact that their childhood would be no more once that baby was born, if they really could understand the gravity of that, I'm pretty sure that they would not want that sibling. And for the small percentage of you idiots that's like, "Well, my child loved being an older sister or a brother. My child loved doing everything." Why are you bragging about the fact that you took your children's childhood away? I don't care about the exception to the rule. Your child deserves to be a child. Your child deserves to be a child.